But if we look at people's everyday lives and we look at what leads people to make stress hormones today, it's not the tiger coming out of the jungle at us or someone from another tribe chasing us with their spear. It's not those, usually, thankfully, those physical threats to our life. What leads us to make things like adrenaline and cortisol today, block your ears, is caffeine and our perception of pressure and urgency. Now, I choose those words very carefully because we can tend to forget that pressure and urgency is a perception. We actually choose to see our day like that. And what so many people have done is made their email inbox full of stress and pressure and urgency and their to-do list. And when we wake up in the morning and we see our day as difficult, or we see it that everything is urgent, when maybe in reality 2 things are actually urgent, we put ourselves into what's called sympathetic nervous system dominance, which is essentially the fight or flight response, and it's adrenaline driving that. So when we produce all of that adrenaline, because it communicates what adrenaline has communicated for 150,000 years for that whole 30-centimetre school ruler, it changes our biochemistry on the inside because it literally thinks our life is in danger, so it prepares us to get away. So the first thing it does is elevate our blood pressure, which is an ongoing problem for so many adults in the Western world. It changes where our blood supply is directed. So normally blood supply is fantastic to our digestive system, but it gets diverted away to the periphery, to the arms and the legs to power us to get out of danger. And the third, and it does many things, but the third and another very powerful thing that adrenaline does is it changes the fuel that your body perceives it is safe to use. So in any given moment, the body is making a decision which fuel to use, and it can only use glucose or fat or a combination of both. And when your body is on red alert thinking it's got to get out of danger quickly, it needs a fast burning fuel to power it to do that. So take a wild guess between glucose and fat, which is the preferred fuel source in that moment. It's glucose. So I have literally met thousands of people in the almost 20 years that I've been working with people one-on-one who have lost the ability to effectively use their body fat as a fuel because they're always relying on their glucose because of stress hormone production. The next thing that happens when we're always in that stressed out place, that's essentially phase 1 of stress, which is high adrenaline. But because with high adrenaline, it creates a lot of inflammation in the body. Now, the body knows that inflammation is the beginning of most degenerative disease. So it's trying to keep you alive. So it needs to dampen down that inflammation. And because historically, adrenaline production was short-lived, we escaped from the danger, we won the fight, whatever happened, but it was short-lived. And now that you've been making adrenaline for the last year or decade, the body says, well, I can't sustain this level of inflammation. I now need to go into the second stage of stress, which is when your cortisol starts to elevate.